Welcome to The Network, a modern podcast version of the Negro Motorist Green Book. I've had the chance to interview some of my favorite people. Every episode is designed to help our community navigate the funky four corners of life. We are here to help the physical, mental, spiritual, and financial health of Black people living in and traveling through America. Subscribe to The Network. You never know. You might need it. Al, you're a fan of rap music?
Yes, sir.
Tribe Called Quest? Or is that a little too back in the gap for you?
I heard of them.
He said, I heard of them. All right. Well, look, man, check this out. In the words of the late Malik Isaac Taylor, professionally known as Phife Dawg. You ever heard of Phife Dawg?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Phife Dawg was famous for saying, Bo knows this and Bo knows that, but Bo don't know jack because Bo can't rap. You ever heard that line before?
I'm lost right now.
Oh, man. Well, what do you know? The D-Dog is first up to bat. Listen, y'all, I got somebody up to bat tonight. One of my favorite young brothers. All right. So let's just start with the facts. All right. This brother is a graduate of Peabody Magnet High School. So the magnet should already let you know something. All right. We just dealing with the facts right now, y'all. He's a 2011 initiate of the Beta Sigma chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, where he served as the international undergraduate representative on the Supreme Council. This brother is an author of the HBCU, a contributing author to the HBCU Experience, the Southern University edition. Now let's get back to that magnet part. This brother has a bachelor's of science in chemistry. This brother has a master's of science in chemical engineering. Okay, he's a season ticket holder. He's also the co-host of the SWAC'n Food podcast and the newly created SUQB Club podcast. Man, y'all put y'all hands together virtually, whether you watching or listening, for Mr. Alaric Jones. Al, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Blessed to be here on the network.
Man, I'm so glad you're here. We actually tried to do this, man, probably 2 or 3 years ago, and it just fell apart. But man, here we are. We back. We back in this thing. All right, Al, man, before we get started, because I know a lot of people going to want to kind of follow you after this. So where can people find you on social media?
I am on I'm on Instagram at TaylorMadeQ_. That's TaylorMadeQue_. I'm on TikTok at TaylorMadeQ_. Same spelling. I got a few viral videos on there too, so check me out. I'm on Facebook at Alaric Jones, Alaric, last name Jones, and then what else? Oh, Twitter. I think it's also TaylorMadeQ too, and I'm active on all 4 social media platforms. So,
all right, y'all heard the brother. He is active on all of the social media platforms, and then I also told y'all that he is a co-host of the SWAC'n Food podcast and the newly created SU Quarterback Club podcast. You can type both of those in on YouTube, and y'all make sure y'all subscribe and follow what this young brother and his cohorts are doing. All right, Al. First thing we do on here, man, is we give flowers. So we don't wait till people die to give them their just due. So who would you like to give flowers to before we start?
can I give multiple sets of flowers?
Man, you can give as many sets, bouquets of flowers that you want to, man, because if they deserve it, we got to give it to them.
Oh my God. Well, I got to start off with my family, my mother, my grandfather, my brother, my uncle, who've always been there since day one. And they've been supporting me from whatever I've tried to do, whether that was pledging and not coming home at night, or playing sports in high school, or going to these different academic camps, back in the day. And I want to credit them to get me where I am today. And I think they have been a big part of my matriculation throughout my life right now.
He said matriculation. Y'all see that? Because I saw him pointing to his dome when we was doing the introduction. So some of y'all probably need to pull out y'all dictionaries because he dropping SAT words on y'all. Okay, so flowers for the family. Who else?
Let's see. One of my high school football coaches, Coach Jules Sullivan, who is now the head coach at Washington Marion High School in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Um,
The Charging
Dex,
Indians.
yes, he was a very stern and strict high school coach. I'm talking about strict, like, oh, you got to see on your report card. We going to get the wood out the closet. But unfortunately, I didn't have no C's or no D's or no F's. I didn't have to go through that. But I did mess up on the field a couple of times. Um, but that got some confidence in myself, and I think his stern coaching and teachings in life and on the football field um, helped me get to where I'm at today. And that was 13 years ago, and I'm still in touch with him today. So I want to give him his flowers too for helping me get where I'm at today. Also,
That's good stuff, man. I'm glad that you gave. How old is he?
probably about 50, I would say.
Okay, so
He,
he's still young.
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay, still pretty young, but definitely got that old school mentality.
I'm
All right,
I'm gonna change 55 because I'm 31. Yeah, about 55. Let me change that.
all right. So a younger man, but
Yeah.
definitely sounds like he had that old school mentality, and that's needed. So I'm glad to hear that you gave this brother flowers because there are some things, man, that there are some methods that are tried and true.
Mhm.
So he sounds like he's got some practices and some methods that are definitely tried and true because you
Most,
appreciate it.
most
All right,
definitely.
man. So before we started recording, I was telling you, man, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that. We're definitely going to talk about the podcast, but man, I want to talk about this degree in chemistry. You are the only brother that I know with a degree in chemistry.
Not
So
not not too many of us.
yeah, right. So man, talk about that a little bit. How did that happen?
So I'm gonna tell the listeners my full name, which is Alaric Dexter Taylor Jones. So growing up, just because of the name, I was a fan of Dexter's Laboratory.
Okay.
So that just stuck in my brain for years and until I got in school, and it was just a coincidence that I was very talented in math and science, and I got into junior high. We started doing chemical experiments and stuff like that, and it just intrigued my mind. I knew from when I got to high school what I wanted to major in. I wanted to be a chemical engineer, which is a little different than a chemist. Um, if you can think of it as a chemical engineer is larger scale, the plants you see from the highway. A chemist handles more small scale stuff that you can do in your hand. Um, so upon going to college, I know Southern didn't have chemical engineering, so they did have a program where you can do chemistry and get a bachelor's from chemical engineering from LSU. So that's how I started off in chemistry. I didn't end up finishing in the LSU program in chemical engineering, but I did finish out in chemistry at Southern, and I had a blast during my time at Southern in the Department of Chemistry. All the stuff that you could possibly dream of doing in the lab, blowing up stuff, making aspirin, um, distillation setups. And if people don't know what distillation is, your most basic form of distillation is boiling water. And distillation is basically separating components.
Okay,
So
yeah, because you was like, if most people don't know, I'm gonna tell you right now, most people don't know what distillation is.
right, right. And the another smaller version of distillation is when you brewing your coffee. I think we call that raffination, which is a form of distillation, and basically the water separates whatever's on the cocoa beans, and they combine to form your coffee in the cup, and then you have your beans left over. That's another process of distillation. So, man, all this stuff was fascinating. Fascinating that I got to do it in college. Put on that white coat and look fancy like I was in an actual lab, and man, that just intrigued me. And um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's how I got started in chemistry, though. So. But it all
Okay,
started
Dexter.
from Dexter's laboratory.
Okay, man. Did the bros know that story?
I don't think so.
Man, because what was your line name? What's your line name?
My line name is Transporter.
That the bros definitely don't know that story.
No.
Because if the bros knew that story, you definitely would have had a different line name. All right.
I probably
So
would have been an alchemist or something like that.
something like that, with a Q in there, because the bros like to throw Q's and stuff. All right, here we go, man. So I want to ask this question. You said there's a few of y'all. I said you're the only brother I know, degree in chemistry. You said it's a few of y'all. Why, in your opinion, aren't there more black boys, young black women interested in chemistry? Is it
Uh,
exposure?
I won't say it's exposure because people know about doctors. I think people know about other fields that use chemistry or biology in the sciences. I think they know about it. I think for the most part it's actually hard. Even in high school, I think a lot of people struggle, especially black people struggle with chemistry. We got a hand right here. And chemistry combines maths along with the chemistry. So it's not just okay, we mixing NaCl with H2O to get
Sodium chloride with water.
sodium hydroxide.
Oh, see, didn't even know that.
I mean, we're
So that's what it
mixing, we're
makes.
mixing, we're mixing, and we're heating it up, and this is what we go get when we
Okay.
finish heating. So it's not just the chemical formulas. You need the math too, because I mean, from the basic part, you gotta add how much water you got with how much um, NaCl you have, and sometimes you have to take integrals to get a more detailed answer. And an integral is like what you would learn in calculus. It's like an advanced version of a number, if I could explain it. But it's a little hard without me showing it on like paper or whatnot. So
Yeah, you don't,
um,
man. Yeah, because you listen.
and when
Let-
people see all that writing on the board and formulas, they just shy away from that, and I think that's the biggest thing. But however, it takes time, it takes patience, and it takes dedication to be good at this stuff and learn this stuff and retain this stuff and actually apply it to applicable things in the industry. So
Okay. So basically, man, I don't know if you heard my dog just bust in. He just bust in the door. Move, man. Sit down. So basically, what you're saying is it's difficult, but if I could kind of uh distill this, if I could do some distillation, basically it sounds like we don't have more black chemists because we're a little scary.
uh,
I know you don't want to say that. You don't even have to comment. That's just my version. The numbers, yes, it's difficult, but do the numbers run us away?
yes, for sure.
Okay.
The math and the science does run away. Cause you look at it like this. Think about how many biology majors you probably knew in college.
Yeah.
Biology is less math, and less chemical formulas, and more of okay, read this chapter and memorize what that says. In
Yeah.
my opinion, you do have some biochemistry in there that's more chemistry related, but other biology based classes, it's just remembering stuff and remembering what you read out the book and not actually applying it. So
Okay. So let me ask this, and then we gonna stop nerding out after this. Um, do I need to possess we know about growth mindset. So let me kind of frame this. We know about growth mindsets, right? Meaning
mhm,
that you can continually grow in whatever it is. So as smart as you are right now is not as smart as you will ever be in your life because you can continue to acquire knowledge and become more knowledgeable and get smarter. Okay?
correct.
So just kind of framing that. But even framing that, do I need to have kind of like some natural God-given talent when it comes to math and science and be able to calculate?
God given talent.
Are some people better at math than others?
I it starts off early, so elementary. Um, so if you don't grasp the basic concepts back then, it's gonna be a little difficult for you moving forward. I think if you take a random child, like a baby that was born in the hood of Baltimore, and you brought them down to Houston and put them in a private school, I think they are probably more inclined and would be better fit to be a chemist than maybe if they grew up back home in Baltimore and wasn't focused, didn't pay attention in class, and wasn't trying to learn anything. So when you say God given talent, I'm not too sure. It's more of that. I'm I think it's more of just grabbing the basic concepts at a younger age and developing over time. Like how some people like myself probably can do math in their head real quick. That started at an early age. So if you
Okay.
develop those study habits early, um, and those basic concepts, you can only add on to the knowledge you already know. And the more you working at your craft, the better you gonna be down the line. So,
Man, you that's a great answer, bro. That's a really good answer. So we need to cultivate. We can cultivate young chemists.
oh, most
We
definitely,
we can cultivate. Okay. Okay.
most
Man, we
definitely.
on to something. All right. Now we cooking with hot grease. All right, y'all. I know, man, some of y'all didn't like, oh man, these dudes in here talking about chemistry. All right. So we talked about that, man. Thank you for sharing that story. Dexter, Alaric Dexter Taylor Jones. Did I get it right?
Mhm. That's right.
Man, you never should have told me that. You never should have told me that. All right, that's not your form, man. Let's go here. All right, man. Let's switch gears, man. Let's change lanes. Let's talk about the podcast. Co-host of the SWAC'n a Food podcast. What is the podcast about?
SWAC'n a Fool podcast is about SWAC sports with a more comical twist on it. Hence the name SWAC'n a Fool. So it's myself, my co-host G, who's an Alcorn State graduate. He would be mad if I said Alcorn State. And then we have J Max, who is a graduate of Southern University. Um, and we just talk about any news in the SWAC that's going on. And, last year we had a lot of Dion type conversations. But we just wouldn't focus on Dion. We focus on every school. We give every school in the SWAC their flowers. So um, initially it was just G and J Max on the podcast, and they brought me in to do the baseball analyst, and so that's kind of how I got started with the podcast, doing the baseball analyst. My first interview was with another Omega, James Cooper, who was a former Grambling State head baseball coach, who is now in the New York Yankees organization, coaching for the rookie league team down in Tampa, Florida, right now. So that was my first interview. And since then, I've had plenty with different SWAC athletes, SWAC icons, and we're just growing daily. We usually go live maybe like once every 2 weeks or more often during the season. We have maybe 200 to 300 people on the live every time we go live. So I mean, it's an enjoyable podcast. If you want to have a laugh every night when we come on, it's definitely the podcast to tune in on.
All right, the SWAC'n a Food podcast. And you said y'all give flowers to all the SWAC schools, right? So the first thing that came to mind, because I don't know a lot about this school in Itta Bena, Mississippi. What flowers do we give to Mississippi Valley State University?
Well, Mississippi Valley does have one of the, well, probably the best wide
The
receiver
best.
that
The best.
has played in the NFL. Who is an NFL Hall of Famer? Not only that, his quarterback, who is now the quarterbacks coach at Southern University, he's also a legend too. Who I think was he was at the he was part of starting the spread offense. Um, so yeah, man. Valley's such a small school, but they've had a lot of historical talent come out of Itty Bitty, Mississippi.
All right. So for those of y'all who may not be up to date on your HBCU SWAC knowledge, he's talking about Jerry Rice,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and Willie Totten.
Winnie Titan, yep.
Willie Totten. All right. Look at me. I'm up to date on my history. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So um so let me ask this, man. So because I did write this question down, man. You say last season a lot of the talk was about Prime. So did Prime ultimately the effect that he had, do you think it's ultimately, because we know it was, man, it was gangbusters when he was at J State, right?
Hmm.
So his effect ultimately hurting or helping the SWAC?
I guess when he was here, it was helping. A lot of the attention was on us. Well, Jackson in particular. But it kind of trickled out to other schools also. But once he left, uh, I guess the media coverage kind of left too. But
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, the SWAC has always been in the light. We've always been on TV. You know about the Bayou Classic, who is always on NBC every year. You have the Magic City Classic between Alabama State and Alabama A&M, which is a huge thing in the city of Birmingham every year. Those people think Magic City Classic is bigger than the Bayou Classic. And people from Southern Grambling think that classic is bigger than the Magic City Classic. So um, I think a lot of people before Prime knew about the SWAC and our schools, but Deion Sanders has definitely put a larger light on us, and you know everywhere I go, I always wear my Southern shirt in the airport, and people are always stopping me. Oh, I know such and such, or I watched y'all on TV. I saw y'all band, or I saw y'all in the SWAC championship against Dion, and stuff like that. So I think his effect definitely was a good thing for the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Okay. Okay. Good stuff, man. Hated to see him go, but I don't know, man. Hated to see him go. Wish he would have been in for the long haul. Um, I wonder why he went to Colorado, other than we don't. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole, man.
Right.
Let me just come on back. Let me hit the brakes on myself. All right, man. So the newly created Southern University QB Club podcast. Talk about that.
so the Southern University Quarterback Club is a booster club that supports the Southern University athletics, in particular the football team. So anything they might need, from Gatorade to water or different equipment, new equipment they might use, try to provide those things. And we've just come with new leadership, so we kind of got a new flavor than in past years. So we've got different committees. We plan on giving out scholarships, community service, um, um, different galas, providing bus trips for the fans to the different away games, and then we also started this podcast. So I think one of the things with Southern University athletics was lacking was a podcast dedicated towards Southern University podcast. There are, I think, different radio shows. They got the Carlos Brown show. I think Reggie Flood has a show also, and yeah, we have those that are for Southern University fans. But I think we needed something to more attract the younger crowd. So that's what we're trying to do with the Southern University Quarterback Club podcast: attract the younger crowd and the older crowd too, so that we can give some uh, good advice and intel on Southern University athletics and sports. So
Okay. All right. So staying in this lane, Southern University athletics and sports, it's
hmm
football season, right? It's August now, so football season is coming up. So what's the outlook for these Southern University Jaguars this year? What we gonna do?
so the outlook is pretty good. Recently, the SWAC has come out with their predictions on who's going to finish And what place on the east and west side. Southern University is picked to finish first on the west side. West side includes
Okay.
Southern University, Prairie View, Texas Southern University, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Grambling, and Alcorn State. And we also finished first on the West last year. The big thing for Southern University football team is the quarterback position. Last year we had Bashawn McCray at quarterback, who didn't live up to the hype of what Southern University fans expected. So
Let
he
me
ended
ask
up
this.
transferring. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. He ended up transferring. Is Clifton McDowell on campus?
Clifton McDowell is at Montana State.
Okay. He's not on campus. All right.
Correct. I know he's a Houston kid.
He's a
I
Houston
mean,
kid. He actually went to high school where I taught.
yep. So Southern was dabbling with another quarterback uh, from the University of Oklahoma, and I think when Clifton heard that news, he decided to reopen his commitment and took a visit to Montana and ended up committing there also.
Oh man, Cliff, who gonna cut your hair in Montana, man?
I
Come on,
questions
Cliff.
questions I had also
Come
questions
on,
I
Cliff.
had.
I wish Cliff would have stayed, man. I was really excited, because I'm not a close follower of all things. I'm not definitely not where you are as far as a follower of Jaguar athletics. Okay. So the outlook is looking good on the bluff. Okay. So got a few things, man. So the Southern University Quarterback Club podcast, mainly football or all athletics?
Mainly football,
Mainly football.
but
Okay.
we do incorporate other sports. And on our first episode, we actually featured the soccer team. Coach Jeremy Fontenot and two of his players were on there also to promote their first game and talk about how they had a decent season last year and how they could build upon the future season. So
Okay.
we gonna shed the light on the whole university.
Okay. Good, man. Y'all tap in with the SU quarter black. We'll go with that
That's a
too.
good name.
Quarterback Club podcast, man. Alaric is one of the co-hosts. So listen, y'all, let me go ahead and do my little commercial right here. So if you're listening to this podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, like, share it with somebody, especially if you're listening on Apple, go ahead and give us those 5 stars. Every rating is greatly appreciated. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button. Y'all know what that looks like, that thumbs up, subscribe, and then y'all click that little bell so you get notifications so that every time a new episode comes out, you're automatically notified, you're in the know, and then you can tap in with us. Today's guest is Chemist, working in the oil and gas field, but also co-host of the SWAC'n a Food podcast and the SU QB Club podcast, Alaric Jones. All right, Al, we're getting ready to kind of switch gears here, man. We're about 27 minutes in, so I think this is a good time for us to kind of change lanes. So we're gonna get into kind of like the exit ticket, but we're gonna do something a little different for you. Usually the exit ticket goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the 5 is usually the Furious 5, where I just kind of throw some random stuff out there. But I want to do something a little different with you because of your sports background. So I want to ask you some things. All right. So we're in the exit ticket. We're doing something different with Al for the Furious 5, and we're gonna start with this. Okay. I know you love baseball. I know you love baseball, okay?
I do.
So let's do this, Al. Actually, let's start here. Bo Jackson or Deion Sanders?
Baseball wise, I think I'm gonna go with Bo Jackson.
You got to pick one, man. You got to pick one.
Bo Jackson.
All
Bo
right.
Jackson.
But you said baseball wise. Both of them
Oh,
played.
uh,
Both of them played. So you got to pick one. One dual sport athlete. You got to go with Bo or you got to go with Prime. Who you picking?
I'm gonna go Bo Jackson.
Okay, Bo
I'm.
Jackson. All right.
I think Bo Jackson was the better baseball player, and so I think baseball gonna make more money than football. So I'm gonna go with Bo because of money.
Okay. All right, he going with Bo. Listen, I know you've seen the highlights, man, but I'm actually, because I'm like a couple of years older than you. I actually watched Bo walk on that wall live. All right, man. That's one of the top 10 things I probably ever seen
Uh-huh.
athletically in my life. And then I know, man, listen, so Brian Bosworth, all right. So Brian Bosworth was this linebacker out of Oklahoma University. The
Hmm.
Boz had a huge following. You may have seen the 30 for 30 on him, right? So Boz was like this destroyer. So Bo is playing for the Raiders. Bosworth is playing for the Seahawks. So they didn't pub this thing up, man. It's maybe Monday Night Football or something like that. It's Bo and the Boz, right? They meet head on at the goal line. Man, when I tell you Bo Jackson just trucked this dude, Bo
Probably
Jack, man,
crushed
man, listen, if Bo Jackson had not gotten injured, man, who knows what would have happened,
it.
man.
The
Bo,
sky was the limit.
man, Bo knows this. He had one of the coldest commercials, man. The Bo knows. All right, man. Sticking with baseball. Let's stick with baseball. Jackie Robinson or Satchel Paige?
Oof,
I'm stumping him, y'all. I got him stumped here.
oof. Man, I need to look up some stats between the two. Ugh,
Look, y'all see
that's a
that
tough.
chemistry brain coming out. He's like, man, I gotta do some
I
calculation.
want to be correct.
No, it's you don't have to be correct. Y'all, he didn't pulled out his phone. Y'all see his screen light up?
I, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go because defense win championships. I'm gonna go Satchel Paige.
Okay. Satchel
Uh,
Paige or Josh Gibson?
I'm going Satchel.
Satchel Paige or Willie Mays? Yeah.
I'm gonna still go Satchel. I'm gonna tell you why. Do I got some more people to compare?
Yeah, we still got some coming up after this.
Okay, I'm gonna go Satchel still.
Okay. All right. Satchel Paige or Hank Aaron?
This is where it get tricky. I might have to switch to Hank Aaron on this one.
Okay. Hank Aaron or Ken Griffey Jr.?
Griffey.
Ken Griffey Jr. or Barry Bonds?
Now I didn't. So this topic came up, and I've defended. I picked Barry Bonds out of the two because
Okay.
that's what the numbers say to pick. However, what you don't see is the the robbing of the home runs that
The
Griffey had.
fielding. Yeah, Griffey was a better fielder for sure.
Right. But I'm gonna go with Bonds, even though Griffey is my favorite athlete of all time. However, what Barry Bonds did at the plate, you can't replicate. Steroids are not. It's hard to put the barrel. It's hard to put the barrel on the ball. Steroids is not gonna help you put the barrel on the ball.
That's right.
Now, how far you hit it, maybe, but getting
Yeah.
hit that has nothing to do with steroids.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then I think the bounce back, I think the body's ability to stay fresher for longer. I think that helped Barry too. But listen,
Oh yeah.
Barry Lamar Bonds, I think that's his middle name. Man, I love King Griffey Jr. I love the kid. The sweetest swing ever. Sweetest swing ever in the history of baseball. Man, but I don't think there was a better baseball player that I've seen in my lifetime, man, than Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds was 30-30,
Oh yeah, for
everywhere.
sure.
He was a 30-30 guy. All right, Al. I got some more stuff for you, man. I still got some more stuff for you. All right, here we go, man. Let's stick with baseball. Let's stick with baseball. All right, who you got coming out of the American League this year?
I think I told somebody this. I think the Rangers.
Okay, so you think the Rangers gonna be able to hold these Astros off?
Yeah, I mean, that's a difficult question. Astros just acquired Verlander, which is gonna help their starting rotation. Um, your boy Framber just threw a no hitter, but he lost his decision. Excuse me,
Man,
yesterday.
and gave up bombs yesterday.
Oh yeah, but On the other side, the Rangers, they acquired Max Scherzer,
Scherzer.
who has been lights out, and I think the Rangers have been more consistent than the Astros were before these trades happened. So that's why I think the Rangers come out the American League. Now, side note, I don't like watching professional baseball, so
Okay.
I don't watch it as much. And the only reason why I do keep up with it now is because my friends back in Louisiana they bet on baseball, so they depend on me to look up stats and give my opinion on who's gonna win
Okay.
every night. So,
Okay. All right. So you got the Rangers coming out of the AL. Who's coming out of the NL?
whew, the NL uh, is the best team on that side. Man, it's gonna be a long shot, but the Baltimore Orioles are a hot team who went from nothing to something this year. They
But
have
Baltimore is in the AL.
Is it? Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm tripping. I'm tripping.
But yes,
It
they Baltimore was bad. They bad for a long time. Long
is.
time.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're pretty solid this year.
Let me see who is in the NL. Got San Francisco.
I mean, I want to say the
Uh,
Braves probably have
yeah, that's
a record.
that's
Go
probably
ahead.
the best record. Strider, who lost his decision yesterday. Their best pitcher lost his decision yesterday. But they got good offense right now. Acuna. I'm sorry. Uh, who else they have? Their whole lineup is stacked from front to back. Albie, I think they call it the little second
Hmm.
baseman. That's his name.
Hmm.
Can hit lights out. So I think it'll be a Braves versus Rangers type deal. But baseball is a funky sport, man. You never know what might happen or when it might happen, and the ball
Yeah,
might just go a different way. And baseball is just so dependent on who is pitching that night. Like, I mean, you can have the Kansas City Royals, who have the worst record in the league, beating the Braves in a series any given weekend just because this
they
pitcher was
going
on
up
it.
against the 3, 4, 5 guys, something like that. So does good pitching always beat good hitting? What you think about that?
Uh, Not always, because people are human. Pitchers make mistakes, um, and that one mistake might cost you. So with good pitching, you go see 1-0, 2-1 type games, and that inch off the plate or inch on the plate might be the difference in that game. So it all depends. I think most of the time pitching is going to win though, majority of the time,
Okay.
because baseball is a game of failure. You fail 75% of the time, you get paid $10 million
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
plate. So I
Okay.
think I think pitchers gonna win 8 out of 10 times.
Okay. All right. Let's pivot to the SWAC. Let's talk about the SWAC a little bit. All right. Who's the best football player in the SWAC nobody knows about
Currently.
currently?
Whew, that's a tough question because with the transfer portal, people just switching schools. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
ah,
we'll chew on that one. Chew on that one. I'll be looking for a post about that. Or maybe if y'all, once we get to mid season, maybe y'all talk about that on your podcast.
okay, that'll be from you.
All right. So that's my contribution. All right. So who's winning the SWAC this year?
Southern University. Southern University Jaguars.
Southern University Jaguars. Tough. It's tough on the bluff, y'all. Who's the coach of the year in the SWAC?
Eric Dooley, Southern University.
Who's on the hot seat? Coach on the hot seat in the SWAC.
It's got to be it's got to be the it's got to be the coach from Texas Southern.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, they've beaten some formidable opponents, and one is your alma mater. In the past couple of years,
Yeah, that was
but they kind of fade at the end of the season. So I think Texas Southern. the little fans that Texas Southern does have, they looking for come up this year, and if not, then it's
He
peace.
gonna have to he gonna have to roll out of there. Okay. All right, Al. So man, that was a version of the Furious Five. It wasn't real furious, but man, we just wanted to talk a little
Woo!
sports, talk a little baseball, talk a little swag. All right, man. So this brings us to the funky four corners. This is the foundation of this podcast. All right. So give us the best advice you've received physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially. All right. So let's start with physical. What's the best physical advice you got for us?
So physical is physical. My most best physical advice was eating once a day and exercising. And exercise really wasn't advice; it was just something I said I needed to start. But eating once a day, I don't. I think I heard somebody talking about it one day, and I just kind of started eating once a day at night, and it's just so crazy that we hosted a health and wellness seminar with our and through our chapter, and then one of the brothers presented about the book How to Eat to
Eat to
Live.
live. Eat to
Yes,
live. Yeah.
and brother Elijah Muhammad is talking about the African American or the black body is only meant to eat once a day, and so and that's just shit. A lot of people ask me why you only eat once a day. Well, you know, it's been documented in some books that this is the proper way to eat, or one of the proper ways to eat. But I know eating once a day it works for me. It works for my what results I'm trying to get. It may not work for everybody, but I think that has helped me over the years from becoming obese. But and I think of it as like a engineering equation. And this is the core foundation class that we take in chemical engineering, which is called material and energy balance. So basically, it's a formula. What goes in equals what comes out, and then you got some accumulation and stuff in there also. But if I'm putting less in, and that means less is coming out, but that's less weight I'm gaining. However,
Less accumulation.
right. So, however, I'm still getting my proteins and my vitamins and all of that good stuff that I'm adding to my diet. So I think the eating once a day has worked tremendous things for me.
That's good. And I like the way, man, y'all see that chemistry mind working, man. That brother just gave you a simple equation. It's just simple math, man. Less in, less accumulation, less out. That's good stuff. All right, that's physically. All right, let's go mentally. Best mental advice you've received.
Mental advice was always have life balance. One of my coworkers always said, man, once you leave, turn that email off, turn that laptop off, and enjoy your time away from work. Um, and I see it on my job. A lot of my coworkers are so invested in their job, they don't have time for families and to even reset at night. And so it kind of shows. They come in frustrated, mentally drained, look physically bad too. So, man, that work life balance is important. So it's good for me to that advice has showed me it's good to separate the two and enjoy your off time while you're off.
That's right. And don't leave Houston on a Sunday.
No, you cannot do
All
that.
right. Man, listen, I saw a picture of somebody today who I know is the same age as me. And I was looking at him and I was like, ooh, nah, you look older than we are. Cause I'm okay.
Hmm.
I got some braids and stuff. Now I'm 45. Man, I'm okay with looking 45, but I ain't trying to look 55 while I'm 45
Nah.
or 65. All right. So that's physically, mentally. All right, man, spiritually. That's spiritual advice you've received.
Spiritual advice is always pray once a day. And sometimes I've shammed on this with praying once a day, but I know I set a New Year's resolution to do that a few years ago, and that's to always pray once a day, whether it be at night, whether it be before you eat. Always pray blessings upon your body, travel grace. I think that always have weighed heavy on me, so and it's helped me get where I am today, and has kept me mentally, physically, and financially stable. So
Okay. All right. So that's physically, mentally, spiritually. The last of the funky four is financially. Best financial advice you have received.
Financial, my best financial advice was getting a credit card, and I just most recently got a credit card, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, which is crazy. I mean, I feel like I always could live off a debit card and you know do it that way without building my credit. But I was definitely talking to one of my pro fights, Mr. Marcus Clark from Patterson, Louisiana. Um, and he was just talking about the Delta credit card he had, how he basically uses that credit card like it's cash, and at the end of the month, he just pays off the credit card
It
bill
all
with
off.
the cash you would have spent on the credit card. So I was like, man, that's a good idea, bro. And you building credit at the same time off the same stuff you would be already be spending money on. So at that point, uh, I decided to get me a credit card. I think my first credit card was a Delta Airlines credit card, and you know, I've seen my credit score do numbers since I got that credit card. So that's
Yeah,
the
and that
best financial advice.
and that man, that's important. Especially being financially responsible with your credit cards, man. It can help you. You talked about getting that credit score up, getting those points. Man, it's a lot of different things you can do. All right, Al, that's good stuff, man. All right, that's the five and the four. This brings us to the three. Three recommendations: one book, one song, one podcast that have been life changing for you. What book you got for us?
Uh, the book I have is the Crane Technical Paper number 410. This is one of the basic chemical engineering books. It's got few words, but few words, probably maybe 3 to 4 thousand different formulas in there that you can use. Um,
Y'all, this this guy is a chemist. This is we talking to Dexter's. We are in Dexter's laboratory right now.
right.
His book is the Crane Technical Paper number 410. Very few
And
words, thousands of formulas.
yeah, so I mean, it's all based on how fluid and gases flow, and these are some of the more common problems you would come in as being a chemical engineer uh, with fluid flow. So the book is a lifesaver when it comes to solving problems in the chemical engineering industry.
Okay. All right.
You know,
Uh
I chose my two podcasts, Southern University Quarterback Club podcast and SWAC'n Food podcast. I didn't pick a song because I just couldn't pick one, and what I listen to right now is pretty hardcore. So
okay. So no song that nothing. What's the one on your mind right now? I know you got one on your mind right now.
I'm gonna say on my mind because I was just listening to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna say Yo Gotti Untrapped.
Okay. All right.
It's kind
So
of a mellow hardcore rap song, and I like those
okay,
type.
so I'm taking all the songs, man, and I've made a playlist. It's called the Network Podcast Playlist. So it's on Apple Music, right? So all of the songs that everybody's recommended. Listen, kind of like the Breakfast Club, it's 50% righteous and it's 50% ratchet. So it's got a little bit of
Okay,
everything on that playlist. All right, Al, that was the five, the four, and the three. Man, this brings us to the two do. You got two really good things, man. So two things you plan to accomplish in the next 90 days, 6 months, or the next year. What you got for us?
so in the next year, I plan to travel to my fifth continent, and then I'll be knocking out my fourth in a couple of weeks, in South America. And then next year, I probably plan to travel to, let's see, which one am I missing? Uh, North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Australia. All right, I'm missing one.
Have you been to
Oh,
Africa?
Africa. Jesus, that's the fifth continent. I plan to go to South Africa, but I also want to go like more Eastern Africa, Central Africa, like
It's huge,
deep.
man.
Yeah.
Africa is huge. It's huge, man. I'm a geography teacher, so one of the first things I do uh in one of my classes, well, I teach African American studies and geography, but I like to show people how the United States would fit inside of Africa,
Hmm.
along with a few other countries that we think are really big, just
Right.
to explain to them how big the continent of Africa is. All right,
Oh
man.
yeah.
The second thing you got on here is attending the 2024 Olympics
Yes.
in Paris, right?
2020. Yeah. 2020. 2024 Olympics are in Paris. So
They're gonna have
I
to clean
plan.
up, man. They're gonna have to clean up in Paris.
Yeah, a little bit in some areas. I mean, if you want to be in a bougie area, they clean up pretty well over there now.
Yeah,
But other places, there's a lot of graffiti and stuff like that. But I
just like
actually
everywhere
been.
else.
Yeah, I mean, it don't bother us. I
Right,
I've
right. You
re-
like,
I've researched. I actually looked up tickets last week, so I really want to see Shakari Richardson and what's the Jamaican Shelly Ann? Can't think of her
Shelly
name, but
Ann Fraser Price.
yeah, I want to see her. And there's I think another girl who's been running good this season, but I want to see those in the 100-meter final. So I've been looking at that day uh, to attend, and then maybe also when they have the 4x100 relays. So I really want to see that and knock the Olympics off my bucket list. So
Okay, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. You need to watch the 400 hurdler. What's her name? Sydney.
Sydney McGoffin,
You got
yeah.
to You got to see Sid, man. The 800 runner that went to A&M. Uh, Mew. I think her name is
Oh
Atina.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
Dark skin girl.
yeah. Yeah, man. And hopefully, United States men can get their act together, man, and get this baton around. And stop
Right.
letting dudes named Lamont from Italy anyway. All right, Al, man, we're down to the end of this podcast, man. We're down to the one. We've done the 5, the 4, the 3, and the 2. So this brings us to the one. One piece of unsolicited advice that nobody asked for, but you're gonna give it to us anyway. What you got?
My advice, unsolicited advice, would be better than me. You you probably hear this all the time. Ah man, Mike, I want to be just like you. When somebody tells me that, I say, be better than me.
Man, be better than me.
This life is full of competition, whether it's on the job, or whether it's you got your own podcast. Uh, you need to be better than the person that's sitting next to you, and you need to be able to stand out and be better than them at what you do. Um, I think that's one of the ways to get promoted and go further in life, and that's working on your craft and trying to figure out how to have a better product than the next person. So that'll be my unsolicited advice.
That's good advice right there. Y'all heard the man. Be better than me. All right, y'all. This is the network. Every episode is designed to edify the African American community as we travel through America physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially. We call those things the funky four corners of life. So, Al, man, thank you so much for your time today. Y'all make sure y'all tap in with the SWAC'n the Food podcast and the Southern University Quarterback Club podcast. Man, y'all go check this brother out, man. Y'all like and subscribe. Y'all go follow him on social media. All right, Al, once again, man, thank you for your time. Everybody who's listening and watching, y'all know what we say before we get out of here, man. I don't care what y'all do, but y'all make sure that you make love the culture. Until next time, I'm Michael Prejean for Alaric Jones. Y'all be easy. Peace.
Peace.
I lost my doggone cursor. There we go.